Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the NASCAR, the NASCAR Atlanta and Mid-Ohio weekend. So the Cup Series and Xfinity Series they were at Atlanta Speedway, while the Truck Series were at Mid-Ohio. So two very different tracks, one basically a super speedway and the other one being a road course. So let's get right into it, but before we get into that, let's talk about New Hampshire Speedway, which is the next race for the Cup and Xfinity, and also the wheelie modified if you're interested in that. Also, like, comment, subscribe, it would really help me. Anyways, so Friday, July 15th will be pretty packed, mainly with the wheelie modified tour and the Xfinity series. So the wheelie modified tour practice will start at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time, but there'll be no TV. While 5:05 p.m. Eastern Time would be the Xfinity Series practice. That'll be on USA and Peacock. 3:35 p.m. Eastern Time will be qualifying for the Xfinity Series. That'll be also on USA and Peacock. And then 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, that'll be the wheeler modified qualifying, but there'll be no TV. Saturday, July 16th. So we have on 11:35 a.m. Eastern Time will be the Cup Series practice. TV coverage will start at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be on USA, Peacock, PRN, and SiriusXM. While qualifying for the Cup Series, which will start at 12:20 p.m. Eastern Time, that will start also that'll be also on USA, Peacock, PRN, and SiriusXM. 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Xfinity Series race for the running of the Aim Better Get Vaccinated 200. That'll be on USA, Peacock, PRN, and SiriusXM. And at 6 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Modified Tour race for the running of the Wheeling 100. That'll be on Flow Racing. And then finally on Sunday, July 17th, it will be on 3 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Cup Series for the running of the Aim Better 301. That'll be on USA, Peacock, PRN, and SiriusXM. So let's now talk about the results. So first start off for the Truck Series, and that was won by Parker Kligerman, who gets his third career win in the Truck Series. Behind him is Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar, Stuart Friesen, Christian Eckes, Chandler Smith, Kaz Gralla, Derek Krause, Colby Howard, and Haley Deegan ran out the top 10. Then Granite Finger, Ty Majeski, Chase Purdy, Oswayne Self, Taylor Gray, Spencer Boyd, Timmy Hills, Matt Crafton, Matt DiBenedetto, and Tanner Gray ran out the top 20. No one failed to qualify, and 3 drivers went into the rear due to unapproved adjustments, that being Derek Krause, Oswayne Self, and Chris Wright. Let's first start off with a bit of a controversial one, shall we? Lap 8, Mason Fleepy. You know him? He drives for G2G Racing. Well, it was a caution for him stopped on the track. It wasn't. I'll show a video of basically what happened. So the TV, classic Fox, cut to him actually rolling, even though they did say it was a caution for Mason Fleepy. People were pretty pissed off about it, especially in the comments of that video from Hendrick Chase 9. Thank you, you're an absolute god, my man. People were basically commenting that G2G should be penalized or should even be banned. Well, not banned, but it should be just penalized for that because that was stupid. Basically, purposely bringing out a caution. Not a really great idea by G2G. I mean, I get it; they're very, very underfunded. They legit bought old trucks from Kyle Busch Motorsports. Not really a great idea from G2G Racing. I think he did qualify G2G's best qualifying position, which I think was 24th. But I think he finished like last place, so it didn't really matter. Lap 17, Trey Burke III stopped at the exit of pit road. Lap 20 and lap 40 were the end of the stages, and that was both. Well, first one was won by Parker Kligerman. While stage 2, which was on lap 40, that was won by Zane Smith. So those two were definitely going at each other. Lap 51, Justin Marks is hard into the tire area and avoids Lawless Allen. Lap 55, also myself gets spun out by Jack Wood, Blaine Perkins, and Timmy Hill all involved. It was just 3 wide going to turn 1, and Self was just basically sandwiched. Lap 61, Corey Heim stopped on the track. Lap 67, after a fantastic battle, Parker Kligerman wins the O'Reilly Auto Parts 150, grabbing his 3rd career Truck Series win. Let's now have a look at the other finishes, and here they are. So So there's Aldous Allen, which I briefly mentioned. He was in 24th. Chris Ryan 25th. Corey Heim, he was a pole sitter. He finished in 26th. Jonathan Nemechek did not have a great run after getting wrecked out also in the Arca Menard Series race as well. Jack Wood 29th. Blaine Perkins 30th. Justin Marks 31st. There's Trey Burke the 3rd and 35th. And good old Mason Felipe down in the last place with an engine issue on lap 9. It was an engine issue on like the next lap. It would have made sense if, you know, they actually threw the caution for like the next lap, but they didn't. So I mean, it's not NASCAR's fault. It's just G2G. That's all. Even though it does look pretty bad that the track immediately refied after it, looks pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure what to say about it, but a lot of people are basically saying that's bad, no good, no bad thing. Anyways, so let's now move over to the Xfinity Series. But the Xfinity Series race, that was actually pretty dull. But there was actually won by Austin Hill, who gets his second win in his rookie Xfinity Series season. Second place behind him is Josh Berry, then Ryan Truex, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Hemrick, Noah Gragson, Justin Allgaier, Landon Castle, Riley Herbst, and AJ Allmendinger ran out the top 10. Then Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed, Jeb Burden, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Sieg, Kyle Sieg, Jeremy Clements, Mike Snyder, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Brad Moffitt ran out the top 20. No one failed to qualify, and no one went to the rear. I think it might have been also because it was metric. I think it was. No, was it metric? I think it might have been metrics. So basically, qualifying was cancelled. I think, was it metric? I'm pretty sure it was metric. If someone can tell me down in the comments if it was metric, that would be great. But basically, that means that qualifying was not ran because it was raining. So lap 12, Sheldon Creed basically spun out, so that threw out the first caution. Lap 40, Josh Berry wins stage 1, and lap 80, Austin Hill wins stage 2. I'll show a quick video of this on lap 88. Brandon Jones makes an incredible save. It was at the exit of turn 4. Got pretty loose on the outside, came down to the inside, got tagged by Daniel Hemrick, and just made a brilliant save on the apron. I mean, it was a good save. At least it wasn't like those brake saves where they just used the brakes as like a save opportunity, and like that be just on like many compilations of saves in the coming future by NASCAR YouTubers who just makes NASCAR compilations of stuff. But it was actually a pretty decent save. It was actually really good. So I'm pretty, I think Brandon Jones should be very happy with that save. But I mean, he did came up and finish. What did he finish? Finished 11th place, so not too bad there for Brandon Jones. Lap 93, both of the Monster Energy cars collided. Yes, that'd be Ty Gibbs and Riley Herbst. I think Herbst ran Ty Gibbs up in the wall, so that basically ended his day. Lap 107, Sam Mayer gets spun out by Jeffrey Earnhardt on the backstretch. He has some hard damage after that. Then lap 163, Austin Hill wins the Alsco Uniforms 250, further solidifying himself into the playoffs. I think he was also born here as well, so he was actually born in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, he's a Georgia native, so this is basically his hometown track, and he won it, so which is pretty epic. So look at the other finishes, and so who do we talk about? So there's not actually a lot that we talk. So there's Sam Mayer down 34th, Ty Gibbs in 35th. Also, what we really talked about is also like C.H. Karen, Matt Mills, J.J. Yaley. They all had issues. Brandon Brown, and then Jesse Wuju, who I do remember he actually spun out. He spun out to like, I mean, he didn't purposely spun out, but he just spun out. That's really all. That's really about it. So that is about it for the Xfinity Series. Just like I said, a very, very dull race for the Xfinity Series standings. Well, Sanders, I should say. Let's now move over to the Cup Series, which that's really all that people really want to talk about. That was won by Chase Elliott. Oh wow, who saw that coming? 2 in a row, actually, that he has won a race. Second place is Ross Chastain, who made more enemies, and Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Justin Haley, Eric Almirola, Cole Custer, and Harrison Burton ran out the top 10. Now Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell, Chase Briscoe, Todd Gilliland, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Busch ran out the top 20. I swear I saw on the NASCAR that Kyle Larson actually came 11th. Let me just have a cheeky quick lands actually of the NASCAR. But maybe I'm just dreaming. Maybe I'm just dreaming that Larson actually had a good run. I'm not too sure. Actually, let me have a look. Okay, no, never mind. I think I just missed. I don't know. I think my eyes were playing with me because I woke up and the first thing that I did was I looked at the NASCAR Cup Series results to see who won, and yeah, I think my eyes were playing me. I apologize. No one failed to qualify, and no one went to the rear. This was metric. I remember this. This was a metric system qualifying. So Chase Elliott got pole, Ross Chastain got was in second place, Larson third, yada yada yada. So lap 25 was competition yellow. That was the thing that happened in this race. Lap 60, Chase Elliott went stage 1. Lap 78, BJ McLeod, Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher all spins on the back stretch. I think Dillon Buescher, they were just spinning just to avoid McLeod. Lap 91, I'll show a video of this. Martin Truex gets loose in front of Ross Chastain and spins. Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Joe Logano, Michael McDowell all involved. So you know what I mean? That he's making more enemies. Let's count. So he made enemies with Allmendinger. That was like the very first one at Coda. He then made Hamlin and Elliott both enemies, and then he made Truex an enemy. I think Almirola as well. I think Eric Almirola also was pissed off at him. I mean, and obviously this is the part where I'm going to talk about Ross Chastain, because obviously Ross Chastain has been a massive talking point, especially at Gateway and here at Atlanta. Sometimes you need to calm down a bit. And I think that's the issue that he has. I think he needs to calm it down. He needs to simmer down a bit, because if he keeps this up, then he's probably going to kill someone. So, I mean, it's fine to be like a bit aggressive, but I don't think you should be like constantly being aggressive. I mean, I think he said as well, like at the end of Gateway, he was like going to change and stuff like oh, like even though he did say he owed the whole field an apology, and I mean he hasn't really done anything to really say to the drivers, look, I've changed. I've changed how I drive. I've changed how I drive a race against all of you. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't changed anything about his driving style. So, yeah, I mean, what Chastain did, I mean, to Truex and later to someone else as well, to a very familiar face, not really the greatest. I mean, I think the second one was all right. I mean, he just spun. I mean, look, I'll get to that soon. But what he did to Truex, I mean, not that great. I mean, he wrecked like half the field, and most of the drivers also had a bad race because of him. So, yeah. Anyways, lap 137, flat tire for Briscoe, and he spins out. Lap 159, Bowman also loses a right rear tire. Lap 160, Chase Elliott wins stage 2, so he sweeps all the stages. Lap 170, Garrett Smithley gets all out of shape and gets hit by Larson, even though he said that it was Ty Dillon, even though it was clearly Larson, but okay. Speaking of him, Ty Dillon was also involved, including Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, Bob Wallace, William Byron, Todd Gilliland, Cody Ware, and Landon Castle. Lap 246, Denny Hamlin gets spun out after contact with Ross Chastain, playing also involved after getting to the back of Chastain, who was too checked up. And lap 260, I'll talk about this as well for a bit. Chase Elliott wins the Quaker State 400 after blocking Cooler Joy in turn 1. So we're just racing brand, just racing. I should probably make a little like visual diagram of this, so I don't have to actually find a video of it. I mean, you can easily find a video on YouTube. It's not that difficult. Racing in turn 1. How am I supposed to do this? So here's like the track. I'll just do this because it's just easier, and it kind of looks like a whatever. This is Elliott. This is LaJoy. And Elliott basically, so LaJoy went a bit here, and then I think, Elliott didn't like turning right against him. He just he was trying to block LaJoy, and kind of shoved him into the outside wall, and then who did he wreck? I think he wrecked Cole Custer, Eric Almirola, and I think Kurt Busch. That was the other one that he wrecked. Well, it was Kyle Busch. I don't know. It was definitely a Busch brother. Yeah, so that happened, and a lot of people have been saying like, oh, I mean, like, I think like Logano said like something about like aggressive blocking. Like Logano does aggressive blocking and gets blamed for it, while for Elliott doesn't get anything. I can definitely see that in my mind. But I think the issue between Logano and Elliott is that Logano does it every single lap. Elliott only does it on the final lap, even though it was a very egregious block. And I'll give I don't think he should have like done that much of aggressive of a block. But LaJoy also came up and basically said, "Yeah, it's fair play. It's fair play." So I can definitely see where Logano's coming from. I can definitely see that, but I think it's just the circumstances of when you should throw the block. Like if it's a final lap, cool. If it's like any other part, maybe like the final lap of a stage. If it's like, I don't know, like say like 100 laps to go, then I don't think you should throw such of an aggressive block. But if it's like the final lap, I'll give you a bit of a pass, but still pretty aggressive of a block there, I must say. So look at the other drivers outside of the top 20. The Squirrel Joy, which I mentioned in 21st. Other ones is Denny Hamlin 25th. There's Logano, which I was talking about, 26th. Who else there? I can maybe talk about Noah Gragson 34th. He did not have a great run. Dylan, McLeod, everyone else down there as well. So now with Atlanta and Mid Ohio all done, let's now talk about the standings for all three Premier Series, and the Truck Series have been looking very, very interesting. We'll start right there. So Zane Smith is currently 58 points in front of both John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith. Then behind the trio, we got Stuart Friesen, Ben Rose, Ty Majeski, Christian Eckes, Carson Hocevar, Grant Finger, and Matt Kraft around our top 10. I also have to say this as well. Ty Majeski, Christian Eckes, and Carson Hocevar have all locked themselves into the playoffs. Even though when I show you the playoff bracket, it will say Corey Heim and Parker Kligerman are in the playoffs, but they are ineligible. And then behind the top 10, we got Derek Kraus, Tyler Ankram, Matt Benedetto, Tanner Gray, Chase Purdy, Parker Kligerman, Colby Howard, Timmy Hill, Ryan Preece, and Corey Heim ran out the top 20. Then here's the playoff. Now, just remember that Kligerman and Heim are not in the playoffs. Even though it does say they are in the playoffs, they're actually not, because they are part-time drivers. Basically, yeah, let's make the whole thing. They are part-time drivers. Part-time drivers cannot be in the playoffs unless you get a waiver. Nope, no part-time drivers are allowed to be in the playoffs. Only full-time drivers. So it's actually so we got Zane Smith, Ben Rose, John Hunter Nemechek, Chandler Smith, and Stuart Friesen top 5. No surprises there. Then there's actually Ty Majeski in 6th place, Carson Hocevar in 7th place, and Christian Eckes in 8th place. And then there's actually Grant Finger and Matt Crafton in 9th and 10th. And behind him is actually Derek Kraus, who's very, very close. If I can actually do some epic math skills, he's only 19 points in behind Crafton. So Derek Kraus has a massive chance of actually making it to the playoffs if he wins, or actually has a better finish at Matt Crafton at the next race, which is Pocono for the Truck Series. Xfinity Series. We have AJ Allmendinger, who's 29 points in front of Ty Gibbs and 30 points in front of Justin Allgaier. Behind them is Josh Berry, then Noah Gragson, who got a penalty, I think like a 30-point deducted penalty after his little collision with Sage Karam. Then Austin Hill, Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer, Riley Herbst, Daniel Hemrick ran out the top 10. Then Ryan Sieg, Landon Castle, Anthony Alfredo, Sheldon Creed, Brennan Brown, Brent Moffat, Jed Burden, Maya Snyder, Alex Bay, and Jeremy Clemens ran out the top 20. Then for the playoff bracket, we know that Ty Gibbs, Allmendinger, Allgaier, Gragson, Josh Berry, Austin Hill, and Brandon Jones are in the playoffs. Behind them in 8th place, we got Sam Mayer, plus 149 above the cut line. Daniel Hemrick, plus 113. Riley Herbst plus 141, Landon Castle plus 80, and Ryan Sieg plus 81. And then the close one is currently Anthony Alfredo, who's minus 80 below the cut line. this is basically the Xfinity Series playoffs. I mean, other than if one of these drivers actually wins, this will undoubtedly be the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. Then finally, for the Cup Series, Chase Elliott is 47 points in front of Ryan Blaney and further 50 points in front of Ross Chastain. Then we got Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Joe Logano, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, and William Byron ran out the top 10. Then Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, Austin Cindric, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, and Austin Dillon ran out the top 20. Here's what the playoff bracket looks like for the Cup Series, and it's all heap of mess. Behind Elliott, Chastain, and Logano is Ryan Blaney, plus 133 above the cut line. And then behind Byron, Larson, Hamlin, and Kyle Busch is Martin Truex Jr., plus 62 above the cut line. And then behind Bowman, Reddick, Kurt Busch, Briscoe, Suarez, and Cindric is Christopher Bell, plus 19 above the cut line. Closest one is currently Kevin Harvick, minus 19 below the cut line. So Harvick still has a pretty good chance of making it to the playoffs. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, just a reminder that the next race is at New Hampshire Speedway for the Cup and Xfinity, and also the Wheeler Modified Tour if you're interested in that as well. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.